Simple random sampling is the most basic and standard way to select people to be in a sample. The important parts to remember is that it is simple. It's kind of like drawing names from a hat. There's really no complexity to it or strategy to it. It's just everyone has an equal chance. It's random. In the same way that drawing names from a hat gives everyone a random equal chance of being selected, any way that you perform an SRS, the key is that anyone could be picked. It's very random. And then finally it produces a sample. So a simple random sample is using this technique to generate a sample. So for example, we pull a name out of a hat. Okay, Sue, Billy, Mary, whoever it might be. We pull these people out. They all were kind of mixed up together in there, and they all had an equal chance of being pulled out on any given pull. So that's a simple random sample in the simplest form. However, when we have big long lists, we're not always going to want to put these in our, cut them out, put them in a hat, and draw names, because that's going to be quite a process. So instead, another technique is to take each person or individual in our sample and give them a number, give them an ID number. And then we're going to use a random number generator to help us select one of these individuals, one or more of these individuals. So let's say I number them 1 through 12 in this case. And once I do that, I'm going to take out my calculator. So if you go to the math key and you go over to PRB, probability, and you go down to randint, it will let you choose a random integer. So in this case, I have numbered from 1 to 12. So I'm going to do randint 1, 12, and hit enter. So it gave me the number 4. So I selected Barney. If I hit enter again, I don't have to redo all that. It'll just automatically put that formula back in and give me another number. So 3. So it looks like I've got Sue. So I've got Barney and Sue. 11. Now I've picked Jeremy. And so forth. So you continue to do this until you have all the people sampled that you want. What happens like this here if you get a 6 and then you get a 6 again? You get a repeat. Well, since Mary's already been selected, you just skip the repeat. So you would just basically ignore this 6 and continue onwards with the new numbers. And you do that until you've sampled all the people you want to sample. One thing with the calculator that I might ask you to do on a quiz or test is to force your randomizer to think like mine. Now, the trick about calculators is they're not truly random. For our purposes, they're plenty random enough, but you can force them to be less random. So let's say we take the number 4, and we hit the stow key for store, and then we go to our math, PRB, and right here at the top, rand. So we're going to take the number 4 and store that in our rand. And now, if you were to do that, and I were to do that, and I were to make that random int again, so let's go back to math, PRB, randint. Let's do 1, 12. And if you do this on your calculator, you're going to get the exact same answer I get, which is 12. Your next one's going to be 6. Your next one's going to be 11. And the reason this works is because the number that the calculator is starting with to generate a new random number for all of us is going to be 4 because we set that ahead of time. So then that way on a quiz or test you would get the same answers I would. Now if you want to set your randomizer back, I would just push a bunch of buttons, a bunch of numbers, and store that as random, as rand. And by doing that, you're hopefully going to choose a different crazy number than I did, and everyone's randomizer will be starting from a different point again.